Hey guys, it is Kurt from Parade the Gospel, and last week we put out a video 25 out of 50 reasons to use gospel tracts. We're going to complete that. This is from a little pamphlet thing from Moments with the Book. I got some gospel tracts from them last week that came with it. So yeah, let's just go and complete this, shall we? So I got a bunch of random gospel tracts just strewed about here. I was making a couple of videos on two different YouTube channels that I have. I was going over this gospel tract right here. This is a pretty good one. We had like thousands of these that we're giving out at the Minneapolis Super Bowl in 2018. And yeah, so that's a great one. And then we have this one right here, How to Be Free from the Fear of Death from Ray Comfort. So I was just reading over these on a couple of different YouTube channels I don't have much content on yet, so I thought maybe I might as well. Anyway, so we went through last week 1 through 25. Now this little brochure pamphlet thing, it's called 100 Reasons and Ways to Use Gospel Tracts. The first 50 are just different reasons that we can use gospel tracts, and 38 ways after that. And then there's like 12 ways not to use gospel tracts after that. So it ultimately comes to 100. Now, I talked about it before, but I've wanted to for a long time put out a series of 100 videos of ways to use gospel tracts. So this has 38. I'm going to give you guys 100, hopefully, eventually. And I'll just put those videos out once every other day or something like that, whenever I get to it. I don't know. And I'll probably have some bonus ones because I actually have like 110 or so ways that I thought of. Anyway, without further ado, let's start where we left off at number 26. And as I said last time, I'm probably not going to add too much commentary for a lot of these. Just because we could be here all day and talk about this stuff. Me and my friend Joshua tried to go through this in the Facebook Live video once or twice before, and we barely scratched the surface. We probably got like 5 or 10 of them through, and we had so much more to go, and we're talking for like an hour already. So anyway, and then also I haven't read these. I mean, I've read them before, but I haven't like just pre-read them before starting this video. So there might be a couple of them where like I just totally forgot about. So it's been a while since I went through this entire thing. But anyway, so we're going to go through this together, me included. And yeah, let's do it. 26. Tracts are available in a variety of designs and formats to suit your taste and preferences. So yeah, I got some sample gospel tracts right here. Just one from Living Waters. I got one from, I think this is Paul Washer. A whole bunch from Moments with the Book right here. And I believe up here, got some other gospel tracts. Here's one that I made for the Fully Free Films website, and I got the gospel message on the back, and then some from Living Waters right here for things to know, or that you need to know about God. And some comic book tracts down here from Living Waters. This is just one of them right there. And then the Why Christianity booklets right there. And others. So yeah, obviously there's a whole bunch of varieties that you can get. Living Waters, Tract Planet, Moments with the Book are just some of the 3 that come to mind, or Paul Washer has some good ones like this. Anyway, so 27. Tracts address subjects that are current as well as topics that are timeless. So you can get tracts on all kinds of different subjects. Just one that just came up to my mind right now, and I read that was there's a tract on homosexuality that Ray Comfort put out when he came out with that one movie, Audacity. I think I can't remember the exact title of it, but I have a couple of them yet. And then obviously, you know, dealing with the fear of death in that tract right there. And yeah, look at some of these Moments with the Book. This one, got my own religion, questions for God, 3 things God cannot do, and all kinds of, there's like relevant things too relating to like politics or just things going on in the world, things like that. There's all, you can just, you know, there's all kinds of things you can choose from. Anyway, we only got 2 through, so let's go to 27. Tracts address subject, 28. Yeah, okay. Tracts give God's point of view about life and death issues. Perfect one for that right there. Number 29, tracts get their point across in an easy-to-read, brief format suited for a generation familiar with short videos, social media posts, and text messages. I probably should have brought down some sample gospel tracts that are like a lot shorter. I mean, I got these booklet tracts right here. I love tracts that have a lot of information in them, but sometimes shorter gospel tracts are great as well, like the 10 Commandment coins, or there's some other great ones as well. Yeah, unfortunately, we live in a social media age, and yeah, it's people, they have short attention spans. You got like stuff like TikTok and all these other things that are like a minute long or less. And as I say, TikTok is where brain cells go to die. Anyway, so I mean, use it for the glory of God too. But anyway, 30 before I get into trouble. Number 30, tracts cross educational hurdles and are available on various grade levels. Yeah, it can reach all kinds of different people. And actually, I read a couple of these before. I shouldn't say I haven't read any of them, but a couple of these kind of address that same point. Number 31, tracts may contain the only portion of God's word some people have ever read. Take a sip of my drink. Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, most people who are unsaved are probably not going to read the Bible. And yeah, unless we're talking to them, preaching, one-on-one conversations, whatever, tracts might be the only other way that they come across God's word and God's truth. Number 32, tracts can communicate in languages you don't speak. So you can get a lot of like Spanish gospel tracts and other languages. If you're in an area where there's a lot of people that speak a different language and only that language, tracts would be great for that. Not really so much in my area, in Manitowoc. There are sometimes people, though, that do speak Spanish that don't speak English very well, if at all. So that, having a few of those tracts on hand might be good for different events. Number 33, tracts cross age and gender differences. 34, tracts don't require a degree, special giftedness, training, or experience to use. That speaks to a broader point that I've been making on this channel for ages. Like, I talk about myself a lot and how I don't have any special talents. I don't have, like I said in a time before, if there's anybody who has an excuse to not share the gospel, I have to be up on top of that list somewhere. Tracts really did help open me up to have that confidence to share the gospel. I've talked to you, I'm not going to get into big detail about it now, but in 2013, when I started to open up more and do more events and more than just leaving gospel tracts places or doing online ministry, like actually talking to people, tracts was what paved the way really for me to be able to do that. I talked about doing my first parade in May of 2013 in Fond du Lac. And right before that, we did a thing in the mall, at the Fond du Lac Mall, with some people. So anyway, awesome experience there. But yeah, gospel tracts are so easy to hand out, so easy to use. Start by just leaving gospel tracts places. You got your gospel tracts, you're going to the bathroom at McDonald's or wherever you are, just, take one out, put one down somewhere where people will see it, and they do sometimes grab it. And then take those small, tiny baby steps. And once you do that, it gets easier and easier. And then you're like, oh, I want to do more now. And it might get to the point where you can hand somebody a gospel tract. You're at the dog park, for example. And my dog's right down here right now. Hey, Ginger, go to the dog park later? Yeah. So there's a lot of people there. And you just, strike up a conversation. That's really easy to do. And hey, did you get one of these? I've just been making it a point to hand them out to people today. I just wanted to give you one. So can I give you this? Or something like that. Really easy. Anyway, we got to move on. So where did I leave off? 34? 35. Tracts never compromise their message. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff we can speak to on that. Tracts don't compromise. I mean, unless you get a bad gospel tract, but you get a good gospel tract, it's got the message on there. It's not going to forget anything, which is it's great to leave gospel tracts with people you talk to and share the gospel with, so they have something else to reference to, or in case they forget something that you say, or in case you forget something to say. Gospel tracts have all the information in there. Make sure you use good gospel tracts. 36. Tracts cross socioeconomic barriers. Tracts never get tired. Number 37. Tracts give their message when the reader is ready to receive it. Yeah, it's these things are kind of self-explanatory. Sometimes you hear stories about people just grabbing a gospel tract with the intention of throwing it away when they get home, but then they keep it in their pocket and they take it out later and read it. and they can get saved that way. Or sometimes they might stuff it away somewhere for years and then come across it, or maybe somebody else comes across it and they get saved. And remember, guys, the point of evangelism isn't necessarily that somebody gets saved. I know this might kind of ruffle some feathers or people don't understand it. God saves the people. This is something I want to do in a video in the future, but if you go your entire life, if you can look into your future and you find out that all of your effort of sharing the gospel yields nobody getting saved, like there's no fruit in that sense, would you still serve God and obey him? See, that's the important thing. God gets glory whether or not someone gets saved. And that might be a tough pill to swallow for some people, but I'll explain it more and hopefully more better in the future video, but I've always wanted to make a video about that. But anyway, tracts do get read by people, maybe not right away initially. There's a story, I cannot remember the guy's name, but Wretched Radio, I think, put out this video. I think Living Waters did as well. It's the same story, but this one guy, he's an atheist. He went to a movie theater and he comes out. Some lady gives him a gospel tract. He intended to throw it away, but he wanted it to be nice, so he stuffed it in his pocket. But yeah, intended to throw it away when he got home. Ended up reading it later and got saved. And I've actually talked to that guy. I emailed him. He runs his own company, I believe. Does like computer websites and stuff like that. So yeah, I just can't remember the guy's name. Anyway, yeah, so number 39, tracts cross ethnic and cultural barriers. So similar to number 36. Tracts can start a conversation. That is a powerful one. Yeah, it's really easy to start conversations. Let me think of an example. So one of the outreaches that we do is the Late Night Appleton Bar Outreach. Speaking of another video I want to make, actually, we're going to be there. I haven't been there in that outreach for over 2 years now. Before COVID started, I think was the last time I went to it. Appleton is supposedly the drunkest city in America. If you just type in top drunkest cities in America, you're going to get a lot in Wisconsin. I'm not sure how they measure that, to be honest. I mean, I wouldn't think that Appleton, not everybody has heard of Appleton, would be that, but yeah, Appleton, it's either number 1 or number 2. You look at different lists. Sometimes it's number 1, 2, or 3, and then Green Bay's up there as well. So anyway, the point of me saying that is that Appleton is a drinking town, and we go on College Avenue late at night. So a lot of bars lined up out there, and rivers of people sometimes. I mean, it depends on the time of the year and what day and stuff, but we'll go out Saturday night, and me and my friend Luke and Trevor and Greg and Heath and a bunch of other guys, we've gone out there. We'll go out there at 10 o'clock at night Saturday. We'll stay out sometimes till 2 in the morning, speaking to people, preaching. We use the evangelism board, but handing out gospel tracts, and that's the point that I want to get to. So people are walking by, handing the gospel tract. They might say, hey, what's this? Or, they might know because of the preaching. It depends on what we're doing. We don't always do preaching. Most times we just have the evangelism board or start talking to people using gospel tracts. So you hand them a gospel tract. Hey, did you get one of these? Are you a Christian? And, that's it. And then right then and there, conversation has started, and a lot of times people are friendly. It is a kind of a more, you gotta be careful, use wisdom in this kind of an outreach because, people hate the gospel. They hate God naturally. Natural man does not like God. You look at a lot of verses to that effect, but you add alcohol into the mix, you just got to be careful. And we've got some stories. Because we've been doing that since 2013. And yeah, we got stories. Anyway, number 41, we got to hurry up. Tracts reinforce what you say about the gospel in a conversation, talk, or sermon. So that kind of goes to what I was saying before. Something that can remind them or even reinforce what you have been talking about, and the tract can say it maybe in just a little bit slightly different way than you have said it, just to help get that stuck in that person's head. Number 42, tracts get their message across when no conversation is possible, in a letter, with a bill payment, or when you have only seconds with another person. Let me take another sip of my glorious pink drink right here. I'm gonna lift some weights in a little bit. And this is not an endorsement, but if you guys ever do like a pre-workout type supplement, I recommend this stuff right here. It's called Pure Form, real science, good stuff. It takes all the fluff away. You get these pre-workouts at Walmart. It's junk. Don't get it. I know that's totally random. It has nothing to do with this video. And yeah, anyway. But yeah, I mean, I'm big into like nutrition and stuff like that. I want to put in my body the good stuff, what I want for it to accomplish, and whatever. Anyway, sorry, went on a minute sidetrack there. But that's what I'm drinking, in case you're wondering. That's why I brought it up. This pink drink, like, what in the world is that? Strawberry milk? No. Anyway, tracts can address difficult issues when written by an expert on which you aren't an expert. So, yeah, there you go. Tracts are like seeds, which we plant and God can use to bring forth eternal life. And really, that's kind of the point of gospel tracts, really. What I like about this right here, and just like these big events where you can handle gospel tracts, like it's just like parades or a concert or whatever. You just have streams of people walking by, Packer games, whatever. People will just grab them from you. I mean, different events yield different results. I think parades are the best and easiest way to get out gospel tracts in huge mass efforts. But there are seeds. It's like the gospel going forth, the parable of the sower. I was told that the method that they use is broadcasting. So, like broadcasting, like radio or TV or whatever, broadcasting. So you got like your handful of seeds and you just throw them out everywhere. That's broadcasting. And that's kind of like gospel tracts. We're just handing them out wildly, just everywhere. Everyone gets one, as many people as we can. And will the gospel message hit that fertile ground? Well, that's up to God. But that's what gospel tracts are like. They're like seeds, and it's really awesome. So, yeah. Number 45, tracts can be put away for many years and then rediscovered at a divinely appointed time. And that's what I was talking about before. It happens. We hear stories about that. Number 46, tracts generally add their message to other factors from the reader's past that may eventually lead that person to salvation. So yeah, I'm trying to think of an example, but yeah, we're already at 17 minutes. Okay, number 47, tracts are a testimony even if the recipient doesn't read the whole message. They are reminded of their need of Christ. What we should point out about that is a good gospel tract will show somebody their need of Christ. And that's important, their need. Not, I don't like the popular American gospel message, and you can get more of this from Living Waters Ministry, Hell's Best Kept Secret, if you've ever heard that message and things like that. They talk about, come to Jesus because he will give you a basically life enhancement. Ray Comfort likes to use that parable on the plane. Put on the parachute because it will improve your life. And that doesn't make sense. The message doesn't make any sense. And a lot of so-called gospel messages is to accept Jesus into your heart and he will give you a happy life. And it's, I can talk more about that, but we got to move on. But it's important that we understand our need for Christ. That's what I want to get to. And the way I love doing that is by going through the law, the 10 Commandments, to show someone that they are before God. And that's what I was talking about in the video on one of my other channels. I was going through this thing. Before God, we are depraved. And, we need to understand our condition before an eternally thrice holy God. Who we are before God and who God is. What is his character? Very important stuff. Because then the gospel makes a lot of sense. Our need of Christ makes a lot of sense when we understand that stuff. But anyway, number 48, tracts can directly address certain beliefs like Islam, Catholicism, and Mormonism, comparing them with biblical truth. And that goes to an idea that was mentioned somewhere else before. Tracts can have different subjects, and it can address things like that. Like in my time, I've used a lot of gospel tracts that address Roman Catholicism. Trying to think, or Mormonism. I don't know if I ever used much with Mormonism or Jehovah's Witnesses, but we used to go to, and we still, I imagine someone still does, maybe COVID put a wrench into it, but we used to go to this big Jehovah's Witness outreach in Green Bay. Every year they have this thing where all the Jehovah's Witnesses in the states nearby, Minnesota, Illinois, I think, and a few other states anyway, but they'll come together at this big conference thing in Green Bay at the Resch Center right by the stadium for the Packers, Lambeau Field, and we'll share the gospel with them. So they don't really take gospel tracts from you. It's very hard to do that, but if you ever find yourself in an event like that, an opportunity, to give them a gospel tract, or say something like, hey, we'll trade you, you give me one of yours, I'll give you one of mine. Like at a farmer's market, the Jehovah's Witnesses around here are always at the farmer's markets in Two Rivers and the Manitowoc area. I always see them out there, but I'm always working on Saturday, but I always drive past them and see them and thinking, oh man, if I wasn't working right now. Take a sip. Number 49. Tracts can be adapted to share their message through various media to reach people and places that you cannot otherwise visit. So let me read that again. Tracts can be adapted to share their message through various media to reach people and places that you cannot otherwise visit. Yeah, so perfect example. Now this isn't a gospel tract, but I'm going to make another one of these that looks a little bit better. But I got this right here, fullyfreefilms.com. So talked about this before, you guys, but using the Google Street View app on your phone, you can do something called photospheres. And what I'll do is I'll place something like this in the background of a photosphere, so when people just happen to come across it, they'll see that website, and maybe, just maybe, they'll be tempted to look it up, that website, and get the gospel message. Or just needgod.com. That's another thing like that I have. Speaking of Google Street View, I saw the Google Street View car just go past my area this past week, and it was driving by, and I just waved at them. I was delivering. I was working at the time. But I was thinking, oh man, if only I had a sign outside that said something, needgod.com on it, that I could quickly put out, so that when we move out of the house and maybe the new owners will, live there and they want to look at the Street View app, and then maybe they'll see that and check out the website. That's a good thing to do too, if you can. But yeah, photospheres do that. I've made some videos about that before, so check that. But I mean, that's just an example of something you can do. There's all kinds of things you can do online. A lot of people will read gospel tracts online on YouTube. That's what I was doing before with this one and this one on 2 different YouTube channels that I have. Yeah, so there's all kinds of things you can do. Or like I talked about recently, YouTube comments section. You can place the gospel message in there. I just did a video about that, I think 2 videos ago. All right, so let's go to number 50. Tracts provide a point of reference for the reader to find spiritual help by contacting the publisher, church, individual, or website listed on the back. So, yeah, I've talked about that a number of times. On the gospel tract, like they'll have the website, livingwaters.com. If they need more information, there's more information provided on that. I recommend leaving your own information as well, whether it's your church information, so they can go there, and if they get saved or whatever, then they can come there and benefit from the teaching of God's word and worship with you and stuff like that, or talk to somebody about things further. Maybe they want to talk to a pastor or somebody. If they want to talk to you as the individual, they want to learn more from you, so you can leave your email address. So that's what I like to do. And guys, I talk about this a lot. I don't have an example of one right now with our information on it, but like some of these websites or gospel tracts will have a big space where you can print out an address label and leave your information on there, or you can just write it on there. I've written on thousands of tracts before. It takes some time, but I've done it. If you're a Christian though, and you get the gospel tract from somebody, please, 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 if there's contact information on there, please, I beg of you, email them, message them, however you get a hold of them, and let them know that you were encouraged. Please do that. It would be a huge encouragement to people who are laboring for the gospel. Just trust me on that one. I've talked about it before, so I don't want to belabor the point, but I think I will. So, like of the thousands, tens and tens and tens of thousands of gospel tracts that we have given out over the years, with our church information, or not church information, just my email address or whatever. Not on all those gospel tracts, maybe half of them or so, but it's like, I can't recall a time when a Christian emailed us. Maybe there was one time and I'm just forgetting about it, but you would think of of those tens of thousands that someone amongst that crowd would be a Christian. But just trust me though, it does help a lot. It's encouragement, and just with the person really praying for them. When I get gospel tracts, I've talked about this before, I will let that person know. In fact, just recently, I think I just talked about this. I seen some gospel tracts from Moments with the Book. It might have been this one actually. I think it might have been. They were leaving some door to door on part of my route, and I noticed it. Now, they didn't know that this house was vacant, but I saw it on their door handle. And there's no information on the back how I could reach them. Because I'm like, I need to find out who did it. When I see other people sharing the gospel, it's like, I need to do backflips. I'm so excited. I just love seeing that. It's so encouraging, and I want to encourage them. I want us maybe even work together if possible, if they want. But another person in my area spreading the gospel, I mean, how can you not get excited about that? So guys, please, be excited. I don't see how someone wouldn't be excited, but apparently that might be the case. Because, we should be excited that others are out there spreading the gospel. Please pray for those people. Anyway, I'm going to let this go because we're already at 26 minutes. Wow. All right, guys. So God bless. Share my videos from this Pray the Gospel YouTube channel. Encourage other Christians, hopefully, to get the gospel out. That's my goal. I just want more and more Christians, more and more laborers out there. And Luke chapter 10, verse 2 says to pray for laborers. Let us be reminded, and myself included, to always do that. And but let's also, as we're praying, don't forget you are the laborer as well. Like I said that one time recently. And also let's help increase the number of laborers by being excited for the gospel, being excited to get that gospel out, and helping other Christians see our need to get the gospel out and giving them ideas. Like share this video, make your own videos too. I just described that recently. I made a video about that. Make your own videos too, similar to what I'm doing. I'm just a guy with a cell phone camera. That's all I am. Nothing special about me. But the more and more that we saturate YouTube and other platforms, Facebook, whatever, maybe more and more Christians will be inspired to get the gospel and continue that praying, like Luke 10:2 says, for more laborers. All right, guys, God bless.